You know what's interesting about super? Most people interact with it maybe once a year, sometimes never at all. It's one of those things that sit in the background, money goes in, statements come out, and as long as the balance goes up slowly but surely, everyone thinks it's doing what it's supposed to do. But there are parts of super that don't really show themselves unless you go looking for them. And those specific parts have such an impact on your superannuation without realizing it. So before I get into all that, this is general advice only. This isn't personal advice. Does not take into account your unique circumstances. My name's Brian Carney. I'm the responsible manager here at Redwood Financial Planning, and we run our own AFSL. A lot of people assume that when they have super insurances, it just comes with it. And not only that, they assume it's the right type, the right amount, and it's going to be enough when they actually need it. Because no one really opts into insurances, it's just there. The issue is when things are automatic, people stop checking it. And insurance inside your super is one of those things that can quickly drift away, especially when your life changes. This sounds fine on paper, but here's the issue. Insurances inside super is deducted straight from your balance. You don't get an invoice, you don't get a reminder, you don't get a notification to let you know that funds are getting taken. Essentially, it feels like you're not even paying for anything. But over time, those premiums can add up. And if the cover isn't actually appropriate for you, you may end up in this weird spot where you're paying for cover you don't need or missing protection that you do. That mismatch doesn't announce itself, it just sits there. Most people don't realize this until something changes. And where this usually shows up is someone's changed their job or they've consolidated their superannuation fund. They roll balances together, tidy everything up, and assume that everything has stayed the exact same way. But insurances, they don't actually follow automatically like that. So you can go from being covered to not covered without any obvious moment where that decision was made. And because nothing feels different day to day, it can take years before anyone notices. This catches people out more than you think. People don't always realize that insurances inside superannuation is meant to be very broad. It's built to work for lots of people, not for your unique certain situation. That means definitions, coverage amounts, waiting periods are all standardized to fit the average, which is fine until your work changes, your debt increases, or a significant issue comes about where you need your cover. The insurances themselves hasn't done anything wrong, it just hasn't kept up with who you are now. This isn't about good or bad, it's about fit. Insurances inside your superannuation isn't a bad thing. For some people, especially early on, it can make a lot of sense. The problem is when people think that something that worked in one stage still actually fits to where they're at now. Life changes, income changes, debt appears, all sorts of things can happen. But those insurances just keep ticking along, doing exactly what they've been doing until someone takes action. The risk isn't paying too much. People are always fixated on the premiums, but the bigger risk, it's not cost, it's the actual relevance. Paying for insurances that actually line up with your current situation as opposed to paying for something that's not really relevant, that gap only shows up at the worst possible time. Not when you're reviewing your statements, but when you're actually going through the claims process. This is why when it comes to insurances, people feel blindsided. They say, well, I thought I had cover. They weren't being careless about their situation. It's just they'd never actually looked at what that coverage was for and what that claims process actually looked like for their situation. Super is a long-term strategy. Insurances is a theoretical what if can happen. And because of that, people see it as a background noise. And it's very, very easy to ignore until the worst possible thing happens. This isn't about panic or urgency. It's just about awareness. Insurances inside superannuation for Australians plays a significant role. It just works the best when it's intentional and not just assumed. If you ever do decide to look at it properly, it's important to know what's actually there and what it actually does. So hopefully that helps when it comes to your insurances. Thanks for watching.